What I'm about to show you in this video has literally never failed for Bitcoin ever before. We're potentially looking at something very, very nice happening for Bitcoin in the long term, and some really cool stuff going on with Ethereum as well. Something that I really want to bring to your attention. More of this applies to, most of this video kind of applies to the long term, short term. I am going to give you that analysis as well. And I mean, it's looking okay, to be honest, guys. It looks like we've kind of faked out to the bottom and then faked out to the top, and now we're kind of right back into this range. So I'm going to talk to you guys about that in just a little bit as well. S&P 500 pulling back a little bit after yesterday's really, really nice move. And unfortunately, this is all coming as the dollar is kind of right back up at the highs pretty much that we saw as recently as yesterday. So quite a lot to go through in this video. I'm going to start with the bullish stuff before I get to the short-term analysis, but if you guys are excited, do me a favor and smash up the likes, double check that you're subscribed, you got the bell icon checked as well so that you don't miss out on any of this very time sensitive content. And guys, I want to start this off with the thing that I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, this one indicator right here that has never actually failed for Bitcoin. It is, bam, right here, the Pure multiple. This is a very, very cool article talking about the Pure multiple, which I'm going to link down below, but it's actually this chart that I want to focus your attention on. And very simply, if you don't know what the Pure multiple is, visualize this as the RSI. This is somewhat like the RSI in that it tells you about the relative strength of the market. Okay, so when you see the Pure multiple, this orange line, when you see it going quite high, that is an indication that we've rallied up very, very high compared to the last year of price action. And when we see it very low, that's an indication that we've fallen very low compared to the last year of price action. The real definition is we're taking the daily issuance value of Bitcoin, so that's the value of the Bitcoins mined today in US dollars. So as you guys know, Bitcoins are mined every single day. We're taking the 24-hour value of that in USD, and we are dividing that by the 365-day moving average of the daily issuance value. So basically, the average of the last 365 days, we're dividing today's value by that number. And this is a very important number, guys. When we spiked up at about $60,000 range for the first time, that put our Pure multiple at about a reading of 3. When we fell down to our absolute low, that put our Pure multiple at a reading of 0.43. And you guys are going to remember, if you've been subscribed to this YouTube channel for a little bit, because I was talking about this literally just 1 month ago, that this indicator, is something very much worth keeping an eye on. And I did highlight to you guys that we kind of fell into this range right here. And this is very, very significant, because if you take a look at the last couple times that we did this, it actually spelled some really, really good signs for the markets, ladies and gents. We ended up kind of staying there for a little bit of time, but quite quickly coming out. There was even this one occasion right here. I don't want you guys to forget about this. This is what happened when we fell down with the March coronavirus market crash of 2020. Okay, so that was when the first, kind of big wave of, I don't need to tell you this, you already know this, back in March of 2020, and we ended up kind of rallying quite nicely off that. Again, back in 2018, I'm going to zoom in on each of these in just a little bit, but I want to show you just how consistently this has been accurate. It's not a case of consistency. This is perfection, ladies and gents. It has literally never gone wrong. So that's 2018. The next time before that, we saw this happen in 2015. At the very beginning of 2015, this was again at the absolute market low. We kind of fluctuated around this green box right here, but when we fell in, that was it. We spent a little bit more time there, and then bam, we never returned back down to this area until 4 whole years later. And that was very, well, it wasn't actually whole years, but it was basically 4 years later. And then the time before that was in 2011 right here. I thought that's a 2008. In 2011, we fell down into this range, traded a little bit. Bear in mind, guys, Bitcoin was way more volatile back here, okay? I mean, if you look at the price numbers, we went from $4.73 to $2.26, which actually doesn't sound that bad, to be honest, but then we fell even lower. It's quite hard to even get the reading, but yeah, down to $2.29. Very, very volatile back here, and we ended up kind of skyrocketing out from there as well. So literally a 100% success rate. We've never ever seen this go wrong. Does that mean this is going to definitely go well this time? No, of course not. No, it doesn't. But I want to show you guys what's happened previously anyway. Now, I'm going to ignore this one right here, even though it would be very fun to talk about it. I'm even going to ignore this one right here. The market was very, very different at those 2 points. You can do the math if you want. But guys, take a look at what happened here. When we fell down into the green range right here, let's just move this. when we fell down into the green range right here back in 2018, Bitcoin set a low at about $3,150, and from there Bitcoin managed to rally up to this high right here at a high of about $14,000. Okay, so that was a really big rally, and this came bam right off this low over here. So that's like a 4 or 5 times gain for Bitcoin after its pure multiple fell into this green box. The next time this happened, we basically touched it, but I'm definitely going to count this. Bitcoin fell down to about $3,800 again. Those of you who are in the market at this time, you're going to remember this very well. Smash up the likes if you've been on this YouTube channel since then. Shout out to you guys. You are real OGs. We have been through the fucking, you know, we've dined with kings, and now we're eating McDonald's again, ladies and gents. We're right back to it. This is how it goes for us. So if you've been with me since then, if you've been with me since I was making videos back here in 2018, guys, even back in 2017, I'd be curious to know. Just let me know, like, what year, if you can remember, what year did you start watching this YouTube channel? Curious to see how many of you are recent as well. But I mean, guys, we've been making videos on Bitcoin since like 2017. It's been a fucking journey, and yeah, very quickly from $3,800 or so dollars. You know, I mean, it literally just took Bitcoin, I mean, you know, 2 months for Bitcoin to basically rise up by like 3 times and get up to about $10,000, $9,000. It's not quite 3 times, but it's still fucking huge. It's like 2.5x at least, something like that. Then we fell into this range again right here, and Bitcoin was kind of sideways at $9,000, but that only, when we fell into this, that only was kind of what gave us the spark. Oh, what have I done? My bad. Oh, I've completely messed this up. That only gave us the spark to rise all the way up to, you know, so that's right here. And then we managed to rise all the way up to $68,000. Well, in this case, the high was 65 or so. I don't know why the prices are so different on this chart, but I just know off memory it was 65k back then. So that came off this area right here. It wasn't even a low, it was just a consolidation point. That shows you how accurate this pure multiple indicator has been, is that it's not only working when we're at market lows, which is generally what happens, but it's also just working when we consolidate. And then again, ladies and gents, we fell down into this range when we've hit $19,000, $17,000. And the reason that I think this is really impressive is if you kind of look at the math of like the moves that we've made here, right? So, you know, a move from 9,000 up to 68,000. My god, I'm so bad at math, but that's like a 6-7 times gain. You know, what we saw previously, if we look at what happened in 2018, you know, kind of from 3,000 all the way up to kind of 14, again, that's like a 4 or 5 times gain. Guys, if we see a 3 times gain, you know, for Bitcoin from 17,000, why am I doing this to myself on the spot? I'm so bad at math. I shouldn't be doing this publicly, but bam, potentially a $51,000 target if we manage to kind of triple the low that we set, with the pure multiple being in the green right here. That's if we do something similar. You know, and this is just to show you what I wanted to start off this video with. This is going to be a long one, ladies and gents, so strap up. Make sure you've smashed up that like button as well if you're finding this useful so far. You know, what I really wanted to convey to you guys is that this has never failed for Bitcoin in the past, and it's actually resulted in some really cool things. So will that be the same case now? Again, obviously not. I've said this already in this video. I really don't want to come across the wrong way right here. This doesn't mean that we've got 100% success. Well, we do, but it doesn't mean it's going to stay a 100% success rate. But you know, at the same time, this is a pretty damn good indication. And you know, one of the other things that I really like, which I was talking about in the previous video, is this beautiful reading on the fear and greed. Okay, so this is the updated number that we got from yesterday's price action where we spiked up after faking down, and we're still in extreme fear, you know. So for you guys who saw that video yesterday, if you've been subscribed and you've been engaging with this content regularly, shout out to all of you who have. Thank you all so much. You're going to remember that I was saying any kind of reading above 25, 26, 27, 28 was kind of my real kind of red line. You know, anything above that would start to become concerning for me, but we're below all of that right now, ladies and gents. So that is actually a really good sign, right? We're staying in fearful territory even after having what was at first quite an impressive move to the upside. And again, I'm going to get to that short-term analysis in just a minute, so bear with me, ladies and gents. I just want to very quickly highlight Bybit again, guys. This market trading range has become so fertile again. I've actually just pulled a very nice gain on Phil, which I'll talk to you guys about in just a second as well. But all of this is going on Bybit, guys. You can check this out right here. if we type in fill, this is available as a leverage pair and a spot pair. And guys, you're not even paying fees when you trade spot, which means when you're just doing kind of regular trades going from Bitcoin to USD and back and forth and stuff like that, you're not even paying fees, which is very, very impressive. But of course, if you want to trade derivatives, this is where I live. This is my favorite tool on Bybit. Guys, it's available to you with a bonus of over $4,000 as a free deposit. As a free bonus that you get when you make your deposit into Bybit, guys. So that's literally free money that you can trade with. Any profits you make, you can withdraw those profits as well. It's a huge offer. And BitGet is also offering similar things. They're giving you an $8,000 bonus, but the cool thing about BitGet, guys, is that you don't need a VPN to access it, and you can access it from anywhere in the world. More than that, you don't even need to do KYC. So by the way, there's no KYC on Bybit required yet either, but BitGet for now, no KYC at all, so you can use this from anywhere in the world without a VPN. Very, very cool indeed, and an $8,000 bonus. Bybit is my preferred exchange. Unfortunately, it's a lower bonus, but the bonus is easier to get as well. If you want to get that $4,000 bonus right there, again, that is free money that you can trade with. Any profits you make, you can withdraw. So go ahead and check that out in this market right now if you want to be able to take advantage of everything and have a lot of fun right here. But guys, like I said, this I think is very, very impressive, seeing this pure multiple now just kind of coming out of the green range, showing us that, you know, we might be getting started, at least according to this pure multiple. Something might be happening relatively soon. It's always been that way. Does it mean it's going to be that way now? Again, obviously not. You know, and I think it's important to keep in mind that we do have different circumstances in the world now than previous times, right? I mean, you know, this is a cycle of rate hiking and stuff like that, which, you know, many people have pointed out that Bitcoin has never actually lived through yet, you know. So this is definitely a testing time, and at this testing time, Bitcoin is not performing well. So you know, could this be the one exception where the pure multiple doesn't actually save Bitcoin? Yeah, you know, it definitely could be. You know, I wish I was a little bit less blunt about it, but that's not what you guys are here for. You want to hear this stuff as realistically as it gets, as realistically as it is. That's very bad English, but I think you got my point. And you know, that's exactly what I'm aiming to deliver to you guys. You know, unfortunately, we're just not in a good position. So if you know what I mean, like if this was going to be an exception, that would make sense that it's right now. However, I still think this is a really good sign, and it's one of many, and it's happening right when the market is at a low. So again, you know, it's precisely when markets are at lows that I like to consider getting bullish. At the very least, most people can't even entertain that idea, as is evident by things like the fear and greed index, as many people in my comment section right now, in the comment sections of every single other crypto YouTuber, are generally going to be quite skewed to the bearish side. You know, you guys know my take on this, all right? I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to fucking stand in a circle and hold your hand and agree with you. I don't give a fuck about that stuff. You know, and that's a really, really big point for me, all right? I'm not here to agree with people and make friendships here. I'm here to be right, and I'm here to make money. If that's the kind of thing that appeals to you, ladies and gents, jump inside a VIP where you can watch me trading these markets in real time. Like I said, I'm in a nice profit on fill right now, which I'll get to in just a second. But for now, I want to switch to that short-term analysis before I talk to you guys about what's going on with Ethereum. This is a long video so far. Where are we at? Okay, 13 minutes. We're about halfway through. And what I want to talk to you guys with regards to Bitcoin is the short-term analysis. You know, we've kind of, like I said, we faked out downwards, we faked out upwards. We're kind of now back into this sort of range. You know, I think this is important. This could act as support for Bitcoin. If it does act as support, then good, but I don't want to hang around here for too long. I don't want you know, I don't want to get comfortable here again, because we're basically, I mean, right where we were before that CPI data. So you know, this could just be you know, a situation where the market takes liquidity from both sides and then kind of, you know, just goes back to the normal thing. And unfortunately, that would be very typical for Bitcoin if we did that. We've obviously done stuff like that quite a bit. You know, we literally did it, for example, I mean, on both of these occasions, really, from this high to this low to this high to this high again to this low, and then we just kind of, you know, started trading a little bit more reasonably, but only for how long? I mean, only for like 4 or 5 days. You know, it didn't last very long, and then, you know, again, we had a fake out, grabbed some liquidity up here, came back down, did it again, entered the, you know what I mean? So this is just all an example of a very illiquid trading range, you know, and that, you know, and this is why, by the way, I was trading Phil. I want to show you guys what I did on Phil right here, because you know, obviously one of the cool things about 𝗤𝗡𝗡𝗚𝗧 VIP, guys, if you do follow the steps on screen right here, just pause the video if you want to see what to do. But again, it's just, you know, you click the first link down below and then click on what's in the red box, and then click on what's in the red box again. Very, very simple. No downloads, no signups. And this, by the way, this is a direct chat with me, so you can literally, like, this goes to my phone, so you can message me right here. If I don't respond to you, of course one of my assistants will, though. But you know, the reason I was looking at trading Phil, guys, is pretty much just because you know, it's sometimes different coins look easier than Bitcoin to trade, and this was one of those occasions, right? So we had a little bit of a kind of you know, support range right here, where Phil was bouncing up, you know, and it's continued to bounce up as recently as just about 2-3 weeks ago. Wow, that's 3 weeks ago now. And you know, now the expectation was, you know, that we could end up kind of hitting this and find resistance and then drop back down, right? So we haven't fully followed through on that, but I've still ended up hitting some nice profit numbers nonetheless. And this is the thing about VIP, guys, is when you jump inside, we're giving you analysis around the clock on other markets, right? So obviously you should be doing your own analysis and work as well, but I'm giving you all of what I'm doing and what my team is doing as well. And that doesn't just include Bitcoin. I'm not just a Bitcoin trader. I know it looks like that. I prefer to trade Bitcoin mainly because I understand it best, but there are other opportunities in the market, and we are finding them, and we are telling you what we're seeing for that, and when it comes to it, how we're going to be trading that as well, which is a really, really big part of it, ladies and gents. I'm literally telling you how I'm going to be trading it, where I'm going to be entering, why I'm going to be entering, where my stop loss will be, and so on and so forth, with all of the real-time updates. So this is a really, really high level, you know, group right here, where you're getting a lot of very, very exclusive information and access. It's there's a bunch more benefits that I haven't even spoken about today, guys. Get yourself inside if you've been thinking about it. There is a little bit of a discount running as well, so this is your time if you've been sitting on the fence for a little bit. But bringing us back to the market right here, yeah, Phil potentially just getting ready for a bigger drop down. Yeah, we're actually actively setting a low pretty much right now, which is somewhat nice to see. You know, and we take it back to Bitcoin, guys. You know, we are just kind of potentially stuck in this range now. You know, I don't want to see anything like, you know, kind of revisiting the lows, but honestly, I don't know. I almost feel like, you know, beggars can't be choosers right now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we're in a particularly strong position to begin with. We didn't make much use of the green Ichimoku cloud on the 4-hour, and on the daily time frame, this cloud keeps getting lower. We didn't really get very close to it. Daily EMA ribbon, yeah, it looks like a rejection from the daily EMA ribbon. Honestly, you know, this can't keep on sending Bitcoin lower. Eventually, it's going to have to give in either direction, and unfortunately, right now, it still looks like that could be down. And this is kind of the thing that I wanted to talk about with the very short-term analysis, is if we look at this candle right here, absolutely beautiful. We look at this candle right here, absolutely terrible. You know, so we're kind of right back to where we started from. You know, and you know, that's just not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. You know, and I think that's somewhat reflected in the Fear and Greed Index as well. I think that's why we didn't see such a big move up on the Fear and Greed Index. But again, it is still nice to see. You know, bottom line, guys, we didn't fall support. We didn't fail support. We kind of fell below it, but it was obviously a fake out, and we recovered back up pretty quickly. So that's a good sign. Being in the same position we were in before isn't horrible, but it's certainly not a good thing, right? And that, I think, is really important. The same thing kind of applies to Ethereum. It's actually a little bit worse for Ethereum, because if we take a look at this you know, symmetrical triangle kind of shape that I was showing you guys, this was showing us that Ethereum was you know, tightening a little bit, potentially getting ready for some sort of an explosion, whether that's up or down. The explosion obviously was down, but we ended up getting you know, what I would call basically a kiss of death right here. We came back up to this resistance area after dropping down very low, you know, and we're now getting rejected right here. So we didn't penetrate into this range very much. We only went up by about 1.7%, but this rejection so far is also sitting at about 1.5% right here. You know, so we could just call this consolidation. Honestly, again, it looks like an illiquid market, so it's not so easy to analyze this at the moment. But bottom line, guys, you know, this does look like a rejection as it stands right now. If we recover back up, then fine, fair enough. But if not, I think that this market could be in a little bit of trouble. You know, and the thing is if we kind of look at this chart right here that I've shown you guys before with this resistance level, you know, I was saying that this would be a very important level for Ethereum to break, but if we are able to break it, we could literally be looking at like doubling or tripling for Ethereum. I mean, it could be very, very nice and explosive indeed. And if we zoom in onto the 4-hour time frame, this is also a kind of sideways, a diagonal, what's the word, descending channel that I was talking to you guys about before, where we've kind of just been stuck between this range. You know, if we kind of do end up revisiting the low, that would put us potentially very, very low at, you know, kind of like the $1,000 level, maybe even a little bit lower. You know, the good news is that if it happens soon, which is to say quickly, although we're pretty much out of time for this now, you know, then it would also line up with the green lines right here, meaning that we'd find basically confluence where there's multiple different things showing us support in the same place, which is absolutely great. You know, and I think that this could be quite a nice bounce zone for Ethereum. If it does end up failing this, then yeah, I certainly wouldn't be surprised by a little kind of deviation and then probably a move to the upside, or perhaps a deviation and then back in and whatever. I don't want to speculate too far into the future on that yet because it's pointless. You know, a lot of people always ask me, Sammy, where do you think Ethereum is going to go? Where do you think Bitcoin is going to go? Do you think we're going to go back down to 17K and whatever? And my answer is always the same. It's that I don't know, and I don't ponder questions like that. You know, it's very hard to say if Ethereum is going to, you know, go down to $900, for example, because first we would have to break support at $1,100 and $1,000, you know, and I think those are the questions that are worth asking, because as soon as you start talking about going to levels even lower than that, you have to start talking about, okay, well, what's the probability of this being broken? What's the probability of this being broken? And what's the probability of this level being reached? You're multiplying various different probabilities together, and if you have any understanding of math at all, you're going to know that the more probabilities you multiply together, the lower the overall chance of something happening is. Okay, let's say each of these events have a 0.8% chance of happening. I'm sorry, an 80% chance of happening, so quite likely. You know, if we multiply this multiple times together, now we're basically at a coin flip, you know what I mean? And this changes drastically. If we drop this down to 370% odds stacked up one after another, this drops down to an overall likelihood of playing out of 34%. So you know, you can play around with these numbers and you're very quickly going to start to realize, ladies and gents, that speculating quite far into the future is a futile activity. It's completely pointless. It's really just for you know, ego stroking or whatever, ego masturbation, pretty much. You know, I don't think that there's any use in discussing things like that. You know, and the, you know, you've hopefully understood why, for technical reasons. Now, of course, if you want to kind of look from a more you know, fundamental or investment point of view, then of course you have to ask these questions, but you also just need to make sure that you can't, you know, you need to know and keep in mind that there's no way you can be reasonably accurate about this kind of thing. But on that note, what I do want to show you anyway is actually, it's not something to show you, it's to highlight and bring to your attention that Ethereum is potentially just going to be, well, is definitely now getting an index fund from Fidelity. So Fidelity is one of those big companies that very rich people use in the United States to buy things. Like, for example, they've got a Bitcoin index fund, which was quite a big deal when that was released. And I actually want to show you a chart of when it was released. This is when the index for Bitcoin with Fidelity was launched. And this is a really big deal, guys, because what this basically means is it allows big players to get in. The minimum investment for this Bitcoin index was $100,000. For Ethereum, it's 50K. So we're talking big players here, ladies and gents. And I think it's a big deal because, you know, when we are looking at a situation like this where we end up seeing kind of more access to the markets. What that does mean is just more people having exposure and more adoption. So again, this isn't something that's immediate, and I said this at the very beginning of this video. If you've been tuning in since then, thank you so much for having such a good attention span. But what I was saying towards the beginning of the video, ladies and gents, is that these are not factors that are necessarily going to impact the market now, but long term they are good. People ask me questions like, do I think Bitcoin is going to recover? Of course I do, 100%, because we've got a very, very strong space, and the space is getting stronger every day. To now have an Ethereum index fund is a really big deal. And one of the other things that's really important, guys, and by the way, to put this in perspective, this took us from about, $12,000 to 64 and then 68, so pretty big deal. It's not something to laugh at. And one of the big things about this is that when we do have these kind of index funds coming out, especially from Fidelity, for example, they are going to be buying Ethereum as well to back this index. So unfortunately, what doesn't happen is that people who buy Bitcoin through Fidelity are not going to get their actual Bitcoins or their actual Ethereum tokens, but Fidelity is going to back them up by buying those real tokens. So it's a weird, it's almost like a derivative that they're buying, but of course it's legal because the US is corrupt as fuck, and as long as you're rich enough, you're allowed to partake in anything. But if you're not below X number, for example, 50K investment or $1 million or $2 million net worth, you don't have access to certain instruments, again, because the US is corrupt as fuck, and that, but I guess in this case it's a good thing because it does mean more access to the markets. And I wanted to bring this to your attention because this was a good thing for Bitcoin. Obviously, this wasn't the main reason that Bitcoin went up, and Bitcoin probably still would have done a very similar, if not the exact same move, if this index fund didn't exist. But it is still a good sign in the right direction, and I think it's worth pointing out because this does have some fundamental impact on the market, given that they would have to buy Ethereum to back this up. And of course, like I said, just more positive news. Short term, not so great for Ethereum potentially, but long term, everything day by day is looking better, and that is something which I'm very, very happy to be able to say about this market. There you go, guys. Very, very long one here. Lots going on in this market, guys. If you haven't taken advantage of this Bybit offer to get free cash deposited into your account, which you can trade with, which you can profit from, which you can withdraw, I don't know what you're doing. This is the best time to get in right now. And like I said, if you are interested in BitGet, you don't even need to use a VPN. You can access it from anywhere in the world. You can withdraw your funds, of course, as well. I heard weird rumors like they've got very low withdrawal limits. Not the case. Their withdrawal limits are actually pretty high and pretty normal, and you don't even need to do KYC to access it. So very, very cool. BitGet is offering you $8,000 in bonuses. Bybit is offering you guys $4,000. Bybit is my preferred exchange, but guys, they're both fucking great. Go ahead and check them out if you want to take advantage of them, and if you want to continue to see how I'm trading in real time, really get deep and intimate with the things that I'm doing, then that is all going to be with the first link in the description down below. That's going to take you to my free Telegram channel where I'm giving you more analysis on these markets around the clock, completely free of charge, pinged straight to your phone. And once you're there, you can click on my name at the bottom of any post and then click on send message to ask me how to join VIP, and I'll get you inside and we can get this whole party started. Of course, most people who join VIP are getting free access into our 𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗓 Academy courses as well, which is a very, very powerful combination. You're getting the theory plus the practical side by side within a very, very turbulent and, quite frankly, now shaping up to be quite interesting market as well. So there you go, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do if you have. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. Take advantage of the beautiful offers available to you guys from Bybit and BitGet. Jump inside the Telegram group if that's what you fancy, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.